It's really honor for us to join us. I think you're always welcome, Noor. I think we should start, right? As we are really short of time. So let's start our session. So first of all, I warmly welcome you all. Your presence is really honor for us. So, let's begin with a brief introduction of our organization. So SEO is a non-profitable organization, as we all know that, whose only motive is just to be a bridge for the students to achieve every single opportunity that coming across their way. And that's the reason we are having this awareness session on sister to sister exchange program, as you can have the most of this opportunity, as you can well your further education at foreign universities. Your all theories will be entertained, like the eligibility criteria, the funding process, or you're the fully funded, all of these like that questions. So before hand over the mic, I just want to give a brief introduction of our guest speaker. That is, she is a Noor and Rehman, majoring in the English National University of Modern Languages, and she has a co-authored books and work as a content writing. Great. She successfully selected for the Sister to Sister Exchange program, and they placed her in a Boston University. And she's also member of Youth Parliament Pakistan. So for further, she will she will entertain all your queries. Yes, Noor and Rahman, you can continue.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope everybody's okay. Thank you so much, Deepika, for the introduction and for arranging this session. I'm really excited to be here and to talk with all of you. So I'll just continue with a brief introduction of myself. I was selected for the Sister to Sister Exchange Program 2022 cohort, and I got placed in Boston University. I have prepared a presentation for you guys, and the major reason we're having this conference is just to make sure that all of you participants have a greater insight into the program as compared to others, and also to make sure that your applications stand out from the other applications. Um, there are a few things you should know about the program. It is a highly competitive program with just 1.2% selection rate. They select only 20 girls from all over Pakistan every year. But that does not mean that you should not apply, or that does not mean that you cannot be selected. I have a presentation prepared for you. I guess, Deepika, would anybody share it, or should I share it myself? Great. Okay, so we'll start off with a brief introduction about the Sister Exchange program. There are a few things that you need to know about the program. The first of it is that this program is administered by the help of the US Department of State. So you get a scholarship by not only the exchange program, you get a scholarship from American University, which is located in Washington, D.C. And then you also get a scholarship from your host universities. So if you get selected for this program, you will have two scholarships, one from American University and the other from your host university in the United States. So that is one of the best things that I like about this program, because if you have it on your CV, people would know that you got scholarships from two universities. Apart from that, the program is funded by a consortium of partners. It's the US Department of State, IRN USA, Society for International Education in Karachi, Pakistan, and of course, American University. You all might know a little bit about IRN because the YES program, it's funded by IRN, and the Sister to Sister Exchange program is a continuing program to the YES program. We'll move on to the next slide that offers a brief introduction about the program. Could you please move on to the next slide? Oh, great. So I'll talk a little bit about the objective of the program. So the program aims to empower Pakistani women to overcome the social and cultural barriers that we have in our society. Now, I don't need to tell you guys about the barriers and the hindrances that we face as women in the society. And you'll also know that there are a lot of patriarchal barriers that hinder our participation in the economy of Pakistan. Women make 49% of Pakistan's population, but unfortunately, they do not play an equally important part in its economy. So this program allows you to overcome your social and cultural barriers and get into the workforce, and not only just get there, but also retain your position there. So it can also enable you to contribute to the Pakistan's economy and contribute to personal growth, personal development, and obviously professional development. We'll move on to the program. So the Sister to Sister Exchange program is a public-private partnership. As I already mentioned, a public-private partnership means that the program is administered by a consortium of partners. Some of them are US Department of State and some other US partner universities that donate summer scholarships, and you get these scholarships. Now, these scholarships are from the host universities in the United States. So American University and its partners, IN USA and Society for International Education, they select 20 girls from all over Pakistan, and then they place them in summer programs, summer undergraduate programs. So if you get selected for the program, you will spend about 6 to 7 weeks in the United States in the summer as an undergraduate program. This is not like the UGrad scholarship. You do not get to spend an entire semester there, but you will have about 6 weeks in the USA. Most of the students who get selected for the program are from the STEM fields. That includes science, technology, mathematics, and a lot of other computer science fields. So if you are from one of those STEM fields, please do apply, because there are a lot of chances for you to get selected. I'll just mention here that the 2021 cohort consisted of about 18 girls, whereas the 2022 cohort consisted about 23 girls. So most of them, from the 23 girls, about 8 or 9 of them were from the medical sector. But this year, the preference is being given to the STEM fields. So if you are from engineering or from other STEM fields, please apply, because you have a high chance of getting selected. One major question about the program is what it includes. So the program is fully funded. Fully funded means that you do not have to pay for anything at all. The program includes your full tuition fee. Your tuition fee comes from your host university, your travel costs from the United States and to the United States, your health insurance, accommodation, where you live, food, and all of your visa fee. So apart from that, you also get a small stipend for your expenses, for your travel expenses there. So you get a small stipend and you can use that for travel expenses. A lot of people also ask me about the food. I got placed in Boston University, and Boston University had a dining hall. It was quite big, and there were a lot of halal food options there. And in universities that don't have halal food options, what they do is they give you a small sum of money, which is not that small. It's more than enough. They give you that money per day. So you have a small amount of money and then you can spend it on your food and get halal food options. Now it depends upon you if you want to buy the ingredients and make the food yourself, or you want to get just grab pizza and go. That just depends upon yourself, but the money is a lot. It's like $50 to $60 a day for 3 meals a day, and that's more than enough. So you would not face any difficulties finding halal food options. You would not face any difficulty in the accommodation because they virtually provide you with everything that you need. The accommodations are fully furnished. They even offered, Boston University even offered me a lot of small gifts. They give you pillows and cushions and towels and everything that you could possibly need there. They also give you a small stipend for toothpicks, toothbrushes, shampoos, anything that you might need. So you can also take them here from Pakistan, or you can get them from there. We'll move on to the next slide. The next slide shows the former and current partner universities. Now, these are the host universities that I was talking about. These are the universities in the US. And one of the best things about this program is that when all of these universities come amongst the top 100 universities in the United States. So if you get placed in these universities, it means that you are studying in an institution that ranks amongst the top 100 universities in the US. And US has 50 states, and those 50 states have innumerable universities. And getting placed in a university that's amongst the top 10, top 100 rankings, it's a big deal. And you do not get that opportunity in UGrad because you do get placed into the suburbs, but this program would not just throw you in some of the US suburbs, and you get placed in the major cities. Some of them are UC Davis in California, Boston University, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, University of Chicago, Purdue University, Emory, Georgetown, Southern California. So all of them are at University of Denver, Colorado. All of them are in the major cities. Moving on to the next slide. There is one thing that you guys should know. You do not get to choose your host university. If you get selected, the program chooses the host university for you. That is because the host university chooses the students they want there. So for example, I got selected by Boston University. I did not choose Boston University. Boston University chose me. You just get to choose the course that you want to study there. So I am an English major, so I took a creative writing course there because I also work as a content writer. So I was free to choose if I want to take a content writing course, I want to take a literature course, I want to take a language course. That totally depends upon me, but I cannot choose the university. We'll talk about the most important thing, the eligibility criteria. So you must be a Pakistani citizen to apply. You should not have a dual nationality. You should be female. Obviously, this program is just for females. You should be between 18 to 24 years of age by June 1st, 2023. Now, I have enumerated this mentioned here. If you are born between June 1st, 1999 to June 1st, 2005, you're eligible to apply. This is just to make things easier for you because some people get confused if they're eligible or not. And you also know that the academic year starts from June, not January. So if you are born, if your birthday is between these two dates, you're good to go. You must have minimum 12 years of education to apply to this program. Now, this means that even if you're in your first semester of university, you're eligible to apply, but that is not the case in UGrad and a number of other scholarships. But you're eligible to apply if you're in your first semester. You must be enrolled in an undergraduate degree program at an accredited Pakistani university. Now, this means that even though you've done your FSC or your intermediate or your A-levels, O-levels, whatever, 12 years of education, you must be enrolled into a undergraduate program, and that undergraduate degree should be the 4-year one. BA degrees of 2 years, they're not applicable here. You must have at least one semester or an equivalent term if you have a yearly system basis at your home university. I just like to clarify here that home university means the university here in Pakistan, and host university means your university in the USA. So you must have at least one semester. That means that if you're in your 8th semester, if you're in your last semester, you're not eligible to apply. You must have at least one semester or at least 6 months of study left if you're in your yearly basis. You must have demonstrated leadership potential at your university or in the community level. As I mentioned, this program is very competitive, and this is not just an academic program, it's a cultural exchange program. So they will look at your cultural skills, they will look at your leadership skills, communication skills, analytical skills to make sure that you're suitable for this program. You must be interested in learning about the United States. We all are interested about learning in the United States, but you must be passionate about it. You must have high grades, honors, and awards, as well as reference letters. Now, if you guys have already started your application, you would know that it requires a reference letter, which must be from your professor and or your teacher. I would highly recommend getting a personalized reference letter and giving your teacher some time to draft it. Please don't get a reference letter that just has the name changed and is the same for everybody else, because please keep in mind that thousands and thousands of students are going to apply to this program, and they're going to filter out the applications by using software, and that software is going to detect your recommendation letter if it matches with somebody else. Similar is the case with your answers. If you're taking out excerpts from answers from previous students who were selected or from anybody else, the software is going to detect that, and that is going to immediately disqualify you. So make sure you don't do that. Request your teachers to draft you a personalized reference letter, and make sure that you don't write it yourself and then just have your teacher sign it, because that is not ethically okay. Please don't do that. You must have a CGPA of 70% or higher in the last 3 years. You should not have any failing grades on your transcript. So if you are in your first semester, for example, you need to provide the transcripts of your past 2 years, and that will include your first year, second year, and then matriculation, past 2 years. If you're in your, for example, fifth semester, you need to provide transcripts from your university, but make sure that those transcripts have grading criteria on them. They should just not say 70% or 80%. They should say grades, A plus, B minus, C plus, because please make sure that you're going to get placed in American universities and they look at grades, because they have a grading criteria there. You must also have a CGPA of 70% or higher, because this is a very competitive program. They're going to select the best students. But at the same time, I would urge you, if you do not have a CGPA of 70%, it's 65%, it's 68%, it's somewhere along the lines of 60. Please do not let that stop you from applying. I would suggest take your chances. Moving on. You must be proficient in English. Now, if your application gets selected, you will have to sit for 2 interviews. And all of those interviews are going to be in English. Those interviews will have people from the American Embassy. They will have people from American University in Washington, D.C., from Society of International Education. And they're going to be talking to you in English, in their particular USA accent. So you need to be able to understand that and respond appropriately. So you must be proficient in English, because they are going to be judging that. Females from diverse backgrounds with prior or limited international travel are highly encouraged to apply. Now, this is something that you need to know, that if you have traveled to the United States before, may it be for an educational or academic purpose or for just tourism, you're not eligible to apply for this program. But if you have traveled somewhere other than the United States, for example, you went to Turkey or you went to Saudi Arabia, you are eligible to apply. And if you have no international travel, you are highly encouraged to apply. You must be able to commit to the program in the United States anytime between June to August 2023. So you're going to be selected for the 2023 cohort. And they send students between June to August, because as I mentioned before, it's a summer exchange program. Now, it depends upon the university that you get placed in. I got placed in Boston University, and that had 2 sessions, summer 1 and summer 2. Summer 1 started in June, but I was not free in June because I had my final exams in June. So I requested them to push my date a little bit to August. So I got placed in summer 2. So if you have that flexibility, that's great. But in some universities, you don't. Like if you get placed in University of Richmond, that starts in June. So you may have to go to the USA in June, even if you have your exams. Now, in that case, you can talk to your university here in Pakistan, and they're likely to facilitate you. You can also talk to the program, and they're very accommodating. They will do all they can to facilitate you. It's not that big a deal. Students from low to middle income backgrounds and or hailing from Balochistan, northern Sindh, southern Punjab, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Azad Jammu Kashmir, and Gilgit-Baltistan are highly encouraged to apply. And this is my personal experience that they do select students from all of these areas. I am from central Punjab. They did select me, but there are a lot of students that come from Chitral, from Larkana, from Kashmir. So this is my personal experience. Please don't think that you will not be selected if you hail from a smaller background. In fact, you can use this as your strength. Mention that in your question answers. Tell them that you hail from a small village in southern Sindh, and they're likely to take a second look at your application, because as I mentioned before, this program is just to encourage female participation in the society. If you're an engineering student in your second or third year of university, you're highly encouraged to apply because the program is likely to place you in research programs. And even though I'm a social science student, I have a lot of colleagues who got placed in research programs in the USA, and they told me that it was one of the best experiences of their life because, as you know, that Pakistan does not really has an inclination towards research as much as is there is in the USA. So they got exposure to tools and software that was not even that you can't even think of in Pakistan. So if you get placed in a university in a research program, that would be absolutely amazing. We'll move on to the next slide. So you can select the subject that most closely aligned to your current course of study. It can be science. You can also take a screenshot of this slide. So make sure so you know if you are pursuing a career in any of these domains. Please do apply. You're also required to choose this on your application so that they can detect the best university for you in the USA. As I mentioned, that you don't get to choose that, they choose it for you. And the university they choose, they keep in mind your academic inclinations, they keep in mind your past results, your personality, your leadership skills, and everything else. Please move on to the next slide. So there are a few documents that you need to have before application. If you've already started your application, you would know that the application requires you to make an account. And as soon as you make an account, they send you an email. The email enumerates the basic documents that you need to have. You must have a photograph. It should have a solid professional background. No selfies, please. Please make sure that your photograph is absolutely professional. You have your national identification certificate, your CNIC or your smart card. If you have a passport, that works as well. You must have 3 years of transcripts. I addressed this query before, but make sure that the transcripts have a grading scale. You must have a reference letter. I've already addressed this too before. It can be by a teacher, counselor, or an employer. If you've worked for somebody in the past and you feel like that your employer knows you on a personal level and is qualified enough to write a recommendation letter, ask them for one. Please don't get recommendation letters from friends or families. They don't count at all. You must have your college or university admission letter. Now, this is just a small document that shows that you are a student of a particular university. All you need to do is get it signed by university administration. And then you also must have your COVID vaccination certificate. That is one of the most important documents you need to have if you want to travel to the US, because they're going to look at it at every airport, every check-in, so you must have it. Moving on to the next slide, you can access the application at www.sister2sister.pk. You would have to make an account, and you can save your progress there and then get back to the application later. But I would highly recommend you guys to please start early so you can finish early. The application is a bit lengthy. You would need to upload a lot of documents. You also need to answer 5 to 6 questions, 250 words each. So make sure that you have plenty of time to compose those answers. I would talk a little bit about the questions too, because most of the students are very worried about that. Please don't be worried about it. Just make sure that your answers don't give off the impression that you wrote them by keeping a thesaurus next to you. Make sure that they come right from the core of your heart. Be personal. make them personalized, write what you want to write. Don't think, make sure that it's not too unprofessional, that you're not using slang words, but at the same time, make sure that it's not professional. This is just to gauge your skills and gauge your personality and the kind of person you are. If you have any questions about the question answers, I can totally help you navigate through that. But I would highly suggest writing those answers yourself. Just sit down in front of you, keep those questions in front of you, and just think whatever comes to your mind, write those points down, and then make sure that you turn it into a cohesive paragraph. Please don't exceed the word limit. They're very picky about that. Please don't use highly complicated jargon. They know that we don't use that in daily life. Just make sure that you're talking in a way that you would in a verbal communication platform. I think that's it from my side. I have tried to wrap it up very quickly just so that you guys can have a lot of time for question answers. I know a lot of students have Q&As, so I think it's your time. We do have some time for Q&As, and I would be very happy to answer your questions. So Farah, I just looked through your question, B.Ed honors. Could you please tell me your year of education? Because you should be enrolled in a 4-year program. Does BA fall into the category of a 4-year program? If it does, then you're eligible to apply. You can just choose the option other, or you can choose the option of education there. Students from all fields are eligible to apply. Please don't think that if you're from bridging or you're from B.Ed education, you're not eligible to apply. Everybody is as encouraged as STEM students. As I mentioned before, I am a social science student, so they give due consideration to social sciences too. If you guys have any more questions, I am here to answer.
Yes, I have with myself. Thank you so much, Noor, for your precious time. Here are some questions. Please answer them.
If you're enrolled in a 5-year program like LLB, you cannot apply. Unfortunately, you need to be in a 4-year undergrad degree, and LLB falls into the category of graduate school. So you're not eligible to apply. If you're a graduate student, you're not eligible to apply. As I mentioned before, you must be enrolled into a 4-year undergrad degree in Pakistan.
No, there is another question that does not mention the education criteria. So what I choose the option? It's the question.
Sorry?
There is a question that does not mention the education criteria. So what I choose the option? Somebody's asking.
I'm not sure I understand the question. What do you mean by education criteria? And which option are you choosing? I'm not sure I get your question, Farah. You can ask it out loud or mention it a little bit clearly.
Farha, are you there? Has anybody the questions? Any queries you want to ask?
Assalamu alaikum, ma'am. My question is yes, are you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, ma'am. So my question is that the field of interest that you asked previously, that the science and engineering and also the arts, that these are the areas of criteria of scholarship. Okay, so I am basically doing the B.Ed honors. So I am eligible for this because when I select the field of study or criteria in which I want to study, so what I have to select from these?
You can choose the social science option, or you can choose the arts option, depending upon your program. It can depend upon your specialization too, and it can also depend upon what you want to study abroad. So you can choose the social science option. I think that would be the best choice for you. Tanya, you asked if higher grades really matter for a selection process. They do matter, but they're not as important. They're not the sole criteria that they'll look at, because as I mentioned before, this is more of like a cultural exchange program. So they are going to look at your academics. They will be making sure that the students they select are high achievers, but at the same time, they're not going to focus just on your academics. They will look at your personality. So even if you lack in your academics, you can make up for it by your interviews or by your question answers. Undergraduate in 4th year, but LLB is 5 years. Yes, as I mentioned before, LLB falls, I know that it falls into the criteria of the graduate degree programs in Pakistan. So that is not applicable for undergrad degrees.
Any other queries? If anybody want to ask related to the form you are going to fill, anybody?
So you do not have to take an English proficiency course certificate like IELTS for the application. If you get selected, some universities may require you to take an English proficiency test. That is not IELTS. That is just a small test on Duo. You might know the app Duolingo. You will need to pass that exam. It's a very easy exam. It just makes sure that you're proficient in English, but that is not the requirement of all university. Like my university did not require it, but I know some of my colleagues who had to sit for it. So you do not need any test scores for application. This is only after you get selected. I mentioned this before too, that if your GPA is less than 70, it depends upon how less it is. But if it falls into the if it's 68, if it's 65, more than 65, not less than 65, then you should take your chances. Please don't stop yourself from applying just because you have a 69% GPA and they say a 70% is the requirement. So you never know, they may like your other co-curricular activities that you mentioned. They may like your writing style. You never know. So please do apply. You cannot get selected if you don't apply. Informed that yes, you will be informed that your application was received. In fact, you can see your application on your portal. That portal is just going to tell you if it was completed or not.
Any other queries?
Just make sure that you guys start early. The application deadline is 31st of October. You don't have a lot of days left. You have to compose a lot of answers. You have to collect documents, reference letters, transcripts, certificates that prove that you are a student of a particular university. So make sure that you just start early. And sometimes you never know the last dates. The website starts to glitch too, because a lot of students are working on that stuff. So you don't want to take that risk. No, Chandni, I mentioned this before too, that if you have already visited the USA, you're not eligible to apply. But if you have visited a country other than the USA, you are eligible to apply. It doesn't matter if you went to the USA for tourism or for an academic program, you cannot apply if you have a prior USA visa.
We are just left with 2 minutes. If you have any queries, you can ask.
Farah, I don't really understand what you're trying to say. You cannot choose another field like art or science if you are an education student, because you do have to go and study it there. How are you going to study science if you are an education student? Academics there, they are quite competitive, they're hard, so you cannot just switch fields like that. You can choose your social science option there.
I think we should end it now. Thank you. Thank you so much, Noor, for joining us,
Thank you,
for making
Deepika,
this
for
event.
having me. If you guys have
Thank
any
you.
more questions, you can reach out to me on my LinkedIn. I'll just type it here. It's Noor Ain Rehman.
Could you write it in comment box? Thank you.
Great. Thank you for having me. And best of luck, guys. Please do apply. And hopefully, I would love to see any of you in the alumni network.
You're always welcome, Noor. So we should end.
Sure. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Do apply, everybody.